Hello, welcome. It is currently Saturday night, close to 10 p.m. Way later than what I'm used to. I typically go to bed at like 8, 7:30, 8. With the baby now, my wife and I try to get as much sleep as we can because we wake up in the middle of the night. But I decided today, I wanted to stay up a little bit later. We're going to open up some stuff, and we're going to condition check the stack of hollows from the box opened up the other day. And we're gonna talk a bit. So I'm way overdue on this package. This is from one of my buddies, Jake, on Instagram. Him and I do business with him regularly, so I bought some stuff from him. Speaking of, if you don't follow me on Instagram, it's down below at Earn Collects. I try to post, I would say, close to every day. Well, I actually did post every day for like 100 days straight, and then I just realized it was way too tiring and wasn't worth it. Follow me there if you want to see pictures of my collection and when I post. I'm pretty active there nowadays. What did I get? I got this theme deck from him, which I don't intend on opening. Unless it's already been opened. I don't think so. I got this as part of this deal, or as part of this other card I got. This is a great, I think this is correct. Is this correct ice? I thought it was. Anyway, this Blastoise Hollow, I think at PS10 is like 50 or 60 bucks. I'm not sure what the other cards are in there, but I'll probably just hold it, sell it to one of you guys, sell it to someone, probably at the next show I vend, because this kind of thing it's kind of niche, but I think it's cool. It's a nice collector's item. Not really my thing. I think it would just sit on the shelf. So that's not what I got. We got one of these. So I'm a Blastoise fan, obviously. And you're probably asking, wait, I thought I've already seen this card. Well, you have. It's actually right here. This is the one I have. Unlimited. I think pop is like 50. My buddy had a raw copy. I probably paid way too much for it. I'm not sure exactly how much I paid. But it was worth a gamble, because if it tens, then I'll have 2 cards. Oh, yeah. 2 cards, pop 50-ish. Oh, yeah, this looks great. Yes. I'll put that in a card saver. Back into the card saver you go, bud. And that's risk for you. If you have the money, you understand the potential, hold on. Jeez. Potential gain you can get. I mean, if this 9s, it'll probably sell for like 300 bucks, which 300 to 350 maybe, or maybe 400 in person, which is still about the same, if not less than what I paid for it raw. But if it tens, maybe 1,000. We'll see. Black and white stuff I'm collecting. X and Y stuff I'm collecting. So yeah, I was happy to take on the risk and give this a shot. But that's not what we're doing today, is it? He was just a bonus. So if you're watching today, thank you. Thanks for the support as of late. Gotten way more support than I could have hoped for someone who's just casually uploading and sharing, their hobby. So I appreciate it. Thank you. And as a thank you, if you're watching, this is an extra copy of this Frostless I have from Pokekune. I'm not going to advertise my giveaways or anything like that, but if you're watching and you want to enter, just comment below. Tell me about yourself. Tell me what you like. in the hobby or what I've been showing, or anything really, just comment below and I'll pick someone at random, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, this is a nice little card. I think it's like 45 bucks. Really nice texture. So that's from one of you guys. Okay, we are conditioning today. Some people like this content, some people don't. It is kind of a necessary evil if you want to buy in bulk and you want to resell. Thankfully, that lot I bought was not bad. So here's how it's going to go. What I do typically is I look at every single card. There's going to be a point where I'm probably going to flip through some of the cards very quickly. Whoops. You know, generally I put them into like 3 buckets. One is near mint to highly light played. So let's look at this card, for example. And the reason why I do that is because when I have found that when I sell, oh yeah, look at that swirl. When I have sold in person, people aren't sitting there and saying like, hey, this card is near mint, I want to pay this, and this card's light played, plus I want to pay that. Generally, they'll just look at the card, and if you say like, hey, it's worth this much because I think it's, you know, this quality of condition, people will just pay it. So like, if you have a light played plus card to a near mint card, near mint plus, you're not going to really find people who will pay. I'm talking about for stuff that's not mega ultra modern. You're not going to find people like this card, for example. This card could pass for near mint. It could also pass for, yeah, what is that? Light played plus. Either way, unless it was like super near mint plus PSA 10, this card would probably sell for the same amount as a light played plus card in person, or I could probably charge like near mint price for it. Anyway, the point is I only condition them into 3 buckets. That's the best bucket, assuming there's no like PSA 10 gems. The worst bucket is basically like heavy played, damaged, moderately played, minus, so like stuff that looks basically beat up. And then this middle tier, which is like light played, medium to moderately played, medium. And that's like basically just something that looks slightly played. Here's an example. I could probably put this in that second bucket. They'd be pushing it, but I could put this in the second bucket and probably sell it, you know, light played minus. It's not terrible. This would get like a 7, I think. I have to clean it though. But these are going to be all raw copies that go into the binders that I sell. I'm not grading any of these. I don't expect any of these to be gradable. So, yeah, a lot of people don't do that. By the way, I should check for no rarities. I was reminded of that in the comments of the other video. All these are going to be going to a binder for the next show I vend. If I can sell them earlier, that's great. I have some commitments already, but for the most part, I'm just conditioning, separating them out. So this will be the first bucket, second bucket, and then this will be the third bucket. So this Galaxy Hollow, which I didn't realize that's what it was called, or I hadn't heard that term in a long time actually. So let's count the swirls. This is a little played, so there's 1 swirl. Can we see it? There's 2 swirls, 3 swirls, 4 swirls. Unfortunately, I think you can see it somewhere. Yeah, the bottom left corner. I'm still going to put this into that first bucket and price it accordingly. Someone will definitely buy this when they see it. So yeah, that's how I like to condition it. I mean, I could go into like 4 or 5 buckets of conditions. I like that. But honestly, like, yeah, this is probably the 3rd. Yeah, that is scratched up. Honestly, I think you're kind of just splitting hairs at the end of the day. Like, I don't think someone's going to look at your cards and say, hey, that's moderately played vintage. heavily played vintage. I think they're generally like, most people are just willing to pay it whatever price because it is vintage. If it's near mint, great. If it's not near mint and it's like heavily played, great. If it's light played, great. So what the heck is this? 3 buckets is better for me, I think, than 4 or 5. And that's what worked well for me at my previous show. I think this comes in this is CD promo, right? That's loved. That's extremely loved. I always forget. I'm going to put that in the last bucket. I think there's 2 versions of this. One, this does come in no rarity, but it's not part of the no rarity set. I think it's a promo, or I forget. Where are my sleeves? So today's ramble session is about something that happened to me recently, and I think it's an important topic to talk about as, someone who's, if you're trying to get in the space, if you are a seller, if you're a buyer too, it's really important to keep this in mind. I think the title of this video is going to be something along the lines of market manipulation is inevitable. And the reason why I'm making this, so short story, I was selling a card. Actually, it was this card. I have a couple of these. I had one auction that just ended last night or 2 days ago. 7-day auction, 99 cents. It got bid up to like $715. And immediately after, the buyer messaged me and said, actually I had the message pulled up. I'm not paying that. I'm only trying to keep the value of mine up. You can block or report me if you want. And obviously it was a 0 feedback account. So I wasted 7 days, had this thing in auction. Kind of crappy because, 7 days is I could probably have put it for buy it now and sold it for like, I don't know, 800, 900. I mean, maybe 800, or maybe tried Facebook or Discords or whatever. But I chose the eBay route because generally, like, you don't get, crappy people like that. So then, I reported them, I blocked them, whatever. Of course, eBay, it's always slow on these things. This promo, a McDonald's promo from 2005. Actually, you don't really see a lot of these. PCG. So in Japanese, this era, there's like advanced era, PCG, DPT, which is Diamond Pearl. They use different abbreviations, I guess, for their sets than we do. And this one, another McDonald's one. I like the gloss. This is definitely loved. So that card didn't get paid for. I relisted it this morning, thinking, cool. You know what? That's fine. I'll just put it at buy it now. And bear in mind, this card does not sell often. In fact, over the last year, it's only sold, let me look. The last 6 months at least, it's only sold 4 times, including the 2 times I've sold it, which is part of this story. The previous solds were $700, buy it now, best offer. $985, $716, which is the one that was mine that got canceled, and then $875, which coincidentally, same cert, same person who sold it, which is me, and that's the other part of the story. So I relisted this thing, and I think this is just gonna go in the junk pile. I relisted this thing, $1,000, buy it now, which is, I think this card is about $900 to $1,000. I think there's only like 300 or 400 of them pop wise, but it's a great promo. Came out at a time where, the trainers were really starting to show, full art trainers really starting to show like a lot of I don't know what to say, just character. Full art trainer character, how original. Anyway, where was I? So I listed this thing and get an offer for $875. In my head, I'm like, okay, you know what? Don't be greedy. This is a great price. I'm fine taking it. I have multiple copies. This is in the eBay vault, which if you didn't know, if you sell stuff in the eBay vault, from the eBay vault, that's loved. So this I would probably say, I'll probably put in this pile just because, yeah. I love that Magmar though. Look at the Magmar. So it sells for $8.75. Immediately, I get a message from the buyer. I had full intentions of buying this item if the offer was accepted. They spelled accepted wrong. They said EXCEPTED. But unfortunately, I didn't realize I don't have the funds. Wait. I think what he means is I didn't realize. Yeah, never mind. Good deal, hard to pass up on. I apologize for the inconvenience. This person, however, has 30 feedback, so it's not a new account. Someone who does do business on eBay, someone who does buy stuff, and they conveniently, I don't know how this happens, by the way. I don't know how you magically don't have enough money to buy a $900 card. Well, I do know how this happens. You know, they're lying. Conveniently doesn't have the money and can't pay for this. Now, why am I telling this long-winded story about 2 price points and like what I sold? Let me rewind a little bit. Oh yeah, this is a great card. Please be loved. Too loved. This card will sell for probably... See, this is the kind of thing with Espeon. Even though it's loved, I could probably get $5 or $10 for this. If I put it in the right binder. People flip through. They're going to see this. You don't really see this card or this arrow. Someone will buy it. Someone will pick it up. So, there are only 4 copies that were sold in the last 6 months. 2 of the auctions, or 2 of the listings were mine. Why do I bring this up? If you're a buyer or seller, you need to know, as I'm 17 minutes in, one important and inevitable thing about this market. It's not regulated, and it is always being manipulated. Ooh, this one looks pretty good. A little dirty. Oh, I actually might... Wait a minute. Oh, that's just scratches. That's where I might... This might be like an 8. But even in a 9, it's like $90. So in an 8, it's probably like 50. Is it worth grading? I like having this stuff raw. It pops in the binders. Market manipulation. This space is not regulated. There's no authority. There's no policy enforcer. There's nobody you can go to when someone cheats you, when someone cheats public data. Ooh, wait a minute. This one's pretty good. I might... What is that? Oh my god. See that stain? That stain literally just kills it. Kills this card. Should lick it off. Oy vey. Otherwise, this card would be very near mint. I could probably still sell it for a good amount, but that hurts. You're on your own in this market. These 2 guys who bought my cards, the first one clearly was manipulating the market and making sure there's a floor on this card. And, you know, normally it's like, okay, ha ha ha, that's funny that he would try to do that. The sad thing about eBay, even though I love eBay, and it's so easy to use as a seller, all the data points are public, and unless you contact the seller, you have no way of knowing. What is it? See, I'm gonna just put these as like light played, in the light played price range, and then when the buyer looks at it, they're gonna say, oh, it looks so clean, and then they're gonna see that, and then I'll say that's why it's that price. God, that is terrible. I love eBay. However, the data points they have, you have no way of knowing they're legitimate or not unless you talk to the buyer or talk to the seller. And, let's play this out in real time. When I go to my next card show and I try to sell that Skyla, and I will sell her, just, patiently. This card looks good. This is probably a 9. Yeah, swirl. Here's how it's going to go down. A buyer's going to come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I really want that card. How much do you want for it? I'm going to sit there and say, I think I want $900 or $1,000. The buyer's going to pull out their phone, in most cases, more than likely. They're going to look at recent comps. They're probably going to go to eBay for that. A lot of people don't go to 130 Point or Terra Peak or anything like that, or other tools. I mean, some people use price charting, but price charting just pulls eBay anyway. They're going to look at the recent solds. They're going to see my price point, my sales data at the 700, the 875, and they're going to say, actually, the last two sold below 900. And then I have to give them a spiel about how I was a seller. I got to prove it to them. And then those price points were wrong. So the only valid price point that they can look at is the price point that was from 3 or 4 months ago. That was for like 900. Damn. The bottom right there. For 900, whatever it was. From someone else. And, for me, I have no idea if those price points were actually legitimate. I don't know if whoever sold the card before was actually paid. So this is all because two people decided, one decided to, bid a certain amount and not pay. And another person decided they didn't have the money. And, I guess in some ways I also benefit from them shill bidding or pumping the market because it helps my card look like it's more expensive than it is. But at the same time, that's just behavior people do. And so when you're dealing with cards like I do that are more niche, Japanese, buyer pools generally way smaller. Sales volume, liquidity is like much lower. You're in a tough position because, a lot of what I do for my business is I buy and I flip more the niche Japanese stuff because I like it. And it's just, what I like to partake in. But my buyers in the market, they're going to look at whatever data is available. And if the data that's available is manipulated, then I'm always going to be in this tough position where am I able to get as much value as I can for the cards that I have? And even for me, like, I have to trust the data points that are out there. This card is too loved. So that's something you got to consider if you're trying to get into this hobby. And let's say you're watching this video and you're saying, "Man, I want to sell what this guy sells." Keep in mind, my risk profile is way different than most people's. I have a stable job. This is all for fun. If it goes to zero, I'll be sad, but I'll be fine. I'm playing with house money at this point. But there are a lot of people who are not like that. And so you want to get in, you want to flip cards, you want to buy Japanese stuff, you want to be part of this selling community. There's a reason why a lot of people stick to modern. And they stick to the stuff that's highly, highly liquid or very liquid. Because that stuff is way less sensitive to a couple of bogus sales points or data points than, what I deal with, which is this Japanese stuff. Ugh, this card's gross. I'm going to put in the second bucket. And, anything that you decide to sell or buy, liquidity matters in selling. Sorry, just selling, not buying. How many people will actually pay for it? What is the price? How often does it sell? All this stuff matters. This kind of stuff is way more sensitive. And you might think, does this apply to eBay? No. This happens on TCG Player when people do buyouts. So buyouts when you buy a bunch of copies of a card, either that's a group of people or a single person. And they do that because they want to control the market and they want to pump the price. So this is not the prettiest, but I'll put it in this bucket. And so, for example, if you and your friends wanted to go on TCG Player, let's say I'm making this up, but this doesn't exist. There's this card. There's 10 copies of it, and they're all for $5 to $6. And then the next 10 copies are $8. You could go in and buy those 10 copies at $5, and that means the lowest listing would be $8. So it's manipulating look at that, the market. And some people would say it's wrong. I can see what's wrong about it. Actually, I do agree to an extent. There's some parts of it I don't like, but I can see why it is an acceptable practice, because in theory, if a market is healthy, then more inventory would be listed. Buyers would stay confident in the price that they want to pay. That should push price down if more gets listed and buyers are deciding, hey, I don't want to pay more than $5, $6, $7, $8 for this card. And it should work itself out. However, that's not how it works when you're dealing with, lower liquidity cards and cards that are more niche, like Japanese stuff. A story I have to tell is last summer, if you were part of the community, the Japanese community, you know that a lot of the stores, I shouldn't say a lot, a handful of stores in Japan were doing buy lists for different cards. And what that looks like is they put a public post out, usually in front of their stores. So if you're in Japan, this happens a lot with like card shops like Dragon Star or Magi Poke or Card Rush. They have a buy list. That buy list is like a menu that says, here's what we buy each of these cards at. Now, no one really knows if they buy it at that price, like actually, or if they're trying to say, here's what we're paying for it. Therefore, hey, market, you should not be selling it for any cheaper than what we're asking for, because you would not be getting as much money. And that happened a lot last summer, leading into last summer, with trainers, top hits in Japanese sets. Oh, damn it. See, it's just always that one thing. Top hits in Japanese sets, trainers, ponchos, really everything. And what happened was, as those lists kept coming out, the prices of those cards in the West on eBay, and it's also applied to booster boxes. There's buy lists for like Dream League and Tag Team GX and some other ones. eBay would get affected and the Western market would get affected because the price that they were paying in Japan would spill over to what people would be expecting at the very minimum on like eBay and out West. So that happened for months. I mean, it's happened. It honestly, sorry. Let me reframe this. Companies, these card shops, they have buy lists. That's not new. That's not, bad or wrong. However, last summer, I think there's a lot of manipulation around the buy lists, and these shops really trying to pump the market directly, indirectly, whatever it is. I love this card. See, I really want... Ooh, this might be gradable. What do we think? Yep, he's gradable. It's probably a 9 though. Hey, we found a gem. Oh. We found a gem. I've always wanted this card. The I think this is C2 promo. I wanted the Trade Please campaign. Same card, same artwork, but I think it's a new back card. It's from 20th anniversary. I've always wanted one, but now I have this one, so there we go. So it all starts in Japan. And last summer, we saw one of the greatest booms for Japanese cards until it all came crashing down. And again, a lot of this was driven by the buy lists that were published by these card companies. I keep saying card companies. These card shops. No one really knows. Was it legit? Was it not? We have no idea, right? I don't think we'll ever know. But one thing I will say is, again, this market is heavily unregulated. It's impossible to regulate. People pump prices of their cards all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if those shops sitting on trainers and trainers, piles and piles of trainers, and stacks and stacks of booster boxes. If part of this scheme for them was to get more demand for these products, these singles, to pump their own bags. And this is not really new. Like this happens especially in the English market. So anyway, I think a lot of people got burned last summer if they overinvested into Japanese modern, especially. Thankfully, I rode that wave, sold a handful of my trainers. I think I had a Lily's full force from Dream League, which I think nowadays is like a $400 card, $500 card in PSA 10. It pumps all the way to 4,000, I think. Recent sold, 3,500 recent sold. I ended up selling mine for like 2,500 or something. I don't remember. Great price. I pulled it, so I made out huge. But that card was pumped into oblivion. And as soon as people stopped buying in that $2,000, $3,000 range, keep in mind, it only takes one or two successful sales for people to continue to list, for people to literally come out of the woodwork and list. And it goes either way. There can be one or two sales that go up, people start listing more. One or two sales that go down, people start listing more, trying to fire sale. This market is super fragile. And is it purposeful manipulation? Is it not? Doesn't really matter. I think the important takeaway for anyone is to keep in mind that, don't get greedy. Know exactly when your exit points are. And also, if you never take profits, or if you've never actually realized your gains, then you basically haven't gained anything. And that's something I'm trying to remember over and over again. I pull this guy out because this is a new cert. I bought this card, and I found out yesterday actually, another copy of this card has been posted with a cert that's newer than this one for a price that's 10% higher than what I sold mine at. Coincidence? Related to my purchase? No. I mean, it's obviously related, but it just goes to show you this card is extremely rare. It's like 87. For someone to have a new cert, to post that after a couple weeks after I bought this, it just shows you how sensitive the market is. And you might think that what you have, I think this is like a true gem. Clearly, it's not that hard to find if someone else posted theirs, and it's a newer cert. So, I'm wary of the black and white XY era in Japanese, because I think I mentioned this before. Although it's getting harder to find, also it just seems like sometimes it'll just pop up out of nowhere, as if people have been holding it and deciding, hey, I've been holding it and just waiting for this right moment, and I have stacks of them. Obviously, that's just me being a little bitter and guessing. Oh, it's a nice near mint card. But yeah, stuff like that does happen. Great. I have so many cards to get through, and I'm not even making a dent on this stack. Going way too slow. So if you are someone who thinks manipulation in the market manipulation just doesn't happen to you, I've got news for you. It happens literally everywhere. It's always happening, all the time. Whether you're on Facebook groups, you know, one common thing I see is someone will put a sales post up. This is actually this guy I have done business with, and he drives me insane because he puts his sales post up. Oh, no swirl for the Clefairy. He'll have a price, right? And as he sells stuff or trades stuff, he'll cross it out, but then leave the price and then say like sold. Okay. And he'll leave the price that he originally asked for it. So if he's selling like this card for $50, when it sells, he'll say, oh, you know, sold at $50. He'll say sold at $50 is what I'm saying. And he might have sold it for like 20. And he does that. People do that because they want to give the illusion that they got more for the card than they actually asked for. And that, you know, whether you like it or not, that's trying to manipulate the market. Is it right? I mean, is it wrong? I mean, not. I guess it kind of is. Swirly. But people do that all the time. Like, it's just a normal practice. Oh, this. I'm not even going to check the back. This is beat the hell up. Normal practice happens all the time. So don't be surprised. I think the thing that'll save you as you buy, as you sell, is one, don't be stubborn. Sorry, I'm talking about selling. I keep saying buying and selling. Don't be stubborn with your prices. Get the best price you can. And what I do, get the best price based on what your goal is. So I used to just sell stuff willy-nilly. Like, oh, I'm going to flip this. I'm going to just post it, see how much I get for it. I didn't really have a plan. Nowadays, I actually have a plan. And everything I buy and sell, I am going for at least 20 to 30% margin. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 20. I'll still put this in the best pile. And the reason why I do that is because I know, you know, for this example with this Skyla, right? I would love to get, let's say I paid $600 for this. I would love to get $1,000 for this. That would be great. That's 40% margin. I've committed myself though, and agreed to myself that I'm not stubborn enough to hold firm on 1,000, no matter what the market says, no matter what sales points or data points are out there, because you never know, one, if the data points are real, but two, why, you know, I think trying to hold on for the extra 10%, so 40% margin, versus 30% margin, it's kind of pointless and it's a little greedy. So I try to anchor myself around a specific goal, because I know as soon as I hit that goal, I'm just going to take it and wash my hands clean and walk and move on. And I think a lot of people, when you first start, you don't approach flipping. This beat the hell up that way. You kind of just buy and you sell, you buy and you sell. But if you have margin targets in mind and you stick to them, it reduces the risk for you as soon as you hit them once you sell, because you've met that goal. You're not taking on any more risk by trying to get more out of that card for the sake of you think you can. And I think being principled and disciplined, I've learned now, this is like my 5th year really, you know, collecting, buying, selling, whatever. Look at that swirl. I've learned now, that's the stuff. If you do day by day, that's how you get ahead. If you treat the things you buy, the things you sell that way. And maybe you'll get a higher margin than what your target is. Maybe you'll get less. It doesn't really matter. The point is, like, you need to know exactly. If you know exactly what you are looking for goal-wise, then it makes it very hard for you to fail. You know, an example here is it's kind of like, let's say your goal is to do 5 pull-ups, right? And you know, if you do any more than 5 pull-ups, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt you so bad, it's going to leave you behind. See this? Fudge. It's going to hurt you so bad, it's going to leave you sore for the next week. Now, you could go and take those 5 pull-ups and walk away, or you could take the 8. But you're just taking on more risk at that point. Why would you do that? Kind of just want... Sorry, that might be the best example, but you get what I'm saying. Dude, some of these are loved. Swirly. Nice swirl. So, have a goal, have a plan. Stuff like price fluctuations are going to happen. But if you know what your target is, your target margin is, you'll be fine. You'll be in good shape. Machamp, one of my favorite cards. It's a pretty looking card, guys. A little dirty. Oh, really dirty. What the hell? What the heck? Sometimes I wonder. Okay, that's one that has to be cleaned, but we'll sleeve it anyway. Yeah, those recent sales on the Skylas, though, such a bummer. The amount of time that's wasted as part of this hobby is unreal. And you know, it's funny, like there really is no consequence for these things for people. Sure, the first guy who shill bidded, he's gonna make a new account. His first account's banned. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's really easy to make a new account on eBay these days. They don't check for that much information until you actually have to pay. And so you could bid up stuff like a storm and get banned and, you know, just make another account. This card, I didn't realize that there was a rocket guy in this card until maybe a year ago. Even though I saw this card, you know, a bit as a kid. I mean, I didn't collect and play during Rocket, but I did see this card, you know, a little bit after. I never realized there was a rocket guy in the background. Okay, let's speed this up, huh? Okay, so I'm gonna stop sleeving these ones. We're gonna speed this up. But yeah, let me know your thoughts if you've made it this far on market manipulation. I mean, sorry. Let me know if you've had any experiences with market manipulation. It sucks. Honestly, it's just so scummy. And, you know, I think, again, there's no consequence, so it's not really going to stop, is it? Is it, Victory Bell? I just can't help it. I got to check like every one of these cards. This card looks pretty good. Hey, we found one. I might have to grade that. So this is a good example of a card that is pretty perfect. I would not be selling this raw. I would try to grade it, or, sorry, if I did sell it raw, I would mark it up and say there's a very clear premium. It's a super near mint, + plus card, here's what I'm asking for it. But it would not go into that first bucket of cards where it's like light plate to near mint-ish. Jungle. Damaged. Cool. One swirl. Scratch. So this is a good example. This is probably like a light played card because of that scratch. I want to put this here. Lapras. Is that a scratch? What is that? Is that a pen marker? What the heck? So pricing. Here's how I typically do pricing. In this first bucket, I'll work backwards. In this last bucket, I don't price any of these lower than $5. And what I found is that, especially with vintage stuff, people gladly pay on the low end between $5 and $7 for vintage cards like this, even if they're like moderately played. I think the nostalgic factor really matters, and just, people associate with vintage cards as like, oh, those are cards I'm familiar with, and so they're willing to pay, they're willing to accept the prices, at least $5 on them. This middle stack, I generally ask for a couple bucks over this stack. So last time I would price these at $5, these are at $7 or $8, and then these cards I would probably price them as true to eBay as I can. So I would go and find like the most near mint or light plate comp, and then I would price it accordingly. So most of these cards though, like these fossil cards and jungle cards, probably aren't any more than $10 anyway in near mint, maybe 12. So they're not going to be fetching too much of a premium or anything like that. But the gym cards, EX era, E series, you could price those $15, $20, $25 depending on the card. Light played, near mint. I mean, some of them you can list for a little bit more. So the first 3 sets, I think you can't really get as much for them compared to those last ones. Okay, Clefairy. Okay, we're near the end of this stack. Wow, this video is long. Thank you guys for watching. I want to be out of town, getting some stuff done with the family and seeing the family. So I'm going to try to upload a couple times before I go and have things scheduled. But this is one video. I mean, we're very far from done. We have this entire stack to go through, which I only did like this much for this video. So next video, a little bit of the same thing, maybe a little bit something different. And I got all the time in the world to get this conditioned and sorted before my next vending show. So hopefully you like this style of content. It's kind of chill, just talking about what's on my mind. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on market manipulation. It's just part of the hobby, and you just kind of got to deal with it. It affects everyone. Last reminder, if you're at the end, you didn't catch the start, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you like. Tell me about yourself. Say hello. I want to pick someone random for this Pokekun Frostlass card. Gorgeous card. Looks so good. Yeah, I'll pick someone to give this away to. So, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to sleeve these last 2. Appreciate the love. And, yeah, catch you guys later. Peace.